2 months ago, I didn't think I'd be here. I knew I was dying. The doctors knew I was dying. And the only thing that I could tell my loved ones was that I wasn't going to be here. I was trying to keep it together for you and didn't do a very good job. All life is, when it comes down to it, it's one small milestone. In my case, even the smallest ones were pretty significant.
Oh, nice shot.
Smoke clouds will rise.
My name is Kirstie Ennis, and I served 6 years in the United States Marine Corps as a helicopter door gunner. Growing up, both of my parents were Marines, and I remember just idolizing them and admiring everything that they were doing. I knew deep down I wanted to do that. You know, I was 6 years old and I had the Barbies that were dressed up as Marines instead of wearing the princess gowns. In June of 2012, I was involved in a helicopter crash out in Afghanistan. I remember hearing the guys in the back calling for power to try and bring the nose of the aircraft back up, and then we hit the ground. My arms were damaged, my spine was damaged. I couldn't breathe out of my nose, I couldn't breathe out of my mouth. I was just destroyed.
Hey, go for the other medic. I'm gonna need help.
As a result of that, I'm a left leg above the knee amputee and sustained various injuries throughout my body.
When I first was told that I was going to lose my leg, I was devastated because in my mind I wasn't going to be able to do the same things that I was going to do, but also like the feminine things. Like, would I ever be able to wear a dress again? Who was going to look at me differently? Kind of the self-esteem things.
But the thing I really struggled with was my loss of purpose. You know, my whole life revolved around serving people. So when that was stripped of me, I didn't really see a future. I honestly didn't. Sometimes one of the hardest things is getting out of the military and going back to our small towns where we sometimes feel like we lost everything. There are guys and girls out there that are struggling, that are wanting to take their lives, that are successfully taking their lives. I really, really struggled. For the last 4 years, it's been almost nightmare after nightmare. Last year, on December 23rd, they ended up having to take my amputation to an above-the-knee amputation. And during that time, I got very sick and was told that I wasn't gonna live. It was weird because everyone else around me, everybody's, you know, I haven't seen my dad cry too many times in my life, but he was crying, my mom was crying. I told them all bye, and I was okay with it.
It was really against all odds that I had pulled through physically, but mentally and emotionally, I was still really hurting.
It was after New Year's. I had been in the hospital for New Year's. I was well into a month of sitting in the hospital, just essentially withering away. And the Wild Sheep Foundation reached out to me and said, "Hey, how do you feel about coming out to the sheep show?" And I thought about that, and I cried at first because I didn't want to go somewhere. I was so frail and so weak that I couldn't get out of my wheelchair. I couldn't walk. I didn't have a prosthetic. And Ron with Wounded Warrior Outdoors and everybody said, "You know what, come out and we're going to help you. We're going to figure this out." I realized that it became really hard to give up on myself when there were so many people believing in you and so many people wanted to see you succeed. I was lucky enough to meet a lot of just extremely talented, a lot of extremely generous people. One of the guys that I was able to meet was an Air Force veteran by the name of Nevada. Extremely talented artist. And he said, "I want to help. How do I get involved?" And that's when we started coming up with this idea to carve a skull. And we needed a big enough skull that he could just do something magnificent, something extremely detailed. And a volunteer by the name of Brad Sweeney came cruising up, and I said, "You know what? Will a buffalo work?" I couldn't tell you the last time I was able to physically do a hunt like this. So, I mean, it's been years. If I don't keep up with life, life's gonna move on without me. So this is the perfect start to be able to adapt and overcome. Oh my God, he's a big old boy. Yeah, holy.
This is once in a lifetime.
Put it right in the shoulder. Oh, nice shot.
Holy mother. That buffalo hunt was the beginning of the rest of my life. I didn't think that I was going to be able to continue going up mountains or go through fields and fields of tall grass. And that buffalo hunt showed me that I could still go out and do those things.
Once that door of trust opens up, the healing power begins.
And once that happens and they overcome that question in their mind, you can just see a physical and emotional change in them from the time they arrive on one of our activities till the time they go home.
After harvesting this buffalo, we used absolutely every piece of it that we could. The meat went out to provide thousands of meals for different wounded warriors and their families. We obviously made blankets, we used the hooves to make bookends, and then finally the skull was donated back to Wounded Warrior Outdoors, and in turn, the artist Nevada Grassi created something magnificent. The skull was then mounted to a base that was created by another veteran, Dan Catlin, and the team at the Wildlife Gallery. If you look in the base, there's a flag. And it's extremely significant because it went over to Afghanistan and was flown in honor of Wounded Warrior Outdoors. It was taken on a tour through Europe with a group of Wounded Warrior alumni and eventually flown over Normandy. There was just so many people that were coming together for the sake of the greater good, to help more people, and I think that's what this is all about, really. The people at Sheep Show, people part of the Wild Sheep Foundation, and obviously the people at Wounded Warrior Outdoors, saw me struggling. And they knew I needed a goal to work towards. The Wild Sheep Foundation, completely to my surprise, they presented me with a doll sheep hunt, and I was blown away, but I was also so confused. I thought to myself, how the hell am I gonna be able to go sheep hunting? These are hunts that people can't even fathom doing with 2 legs, let alone 1. I couldn't see it in that moment for myself, but that gave me hope, and that gave me something to work towards.
The recent loss of my knee was a devastating blow. That took a lot of my mobility away, so it's hard enough for me to walk on carpet. So I've been really working hard with my new prosthetic to get myself used to this kind of terrain and really just the endurance to get out to the animal itself.
I'm strong because of the people that I was around during the Sheep Show. I'm strong because of the people that were giving me hope. I'm strong because of the goals that were now being set for me, ones that I was too afraid to make for myself. They believed in me, and if these people know that I can do it, then by God, I'm going to do it.